So in our research last year, we asked consumers, we gave them 10 different options to rate credible sources from university experts, scientists, farmers, etc. What we found was that farmers ranked in the top 2 or 3, Dr. Oz and others were at the very bottom. So it's important to understand the distinction between credibility and visibility. Clearly those that are in the media oftentimes have more visibility, but they don't have the same credibility. So the opportunity for those in agriculture is to use that inherent credibility to become more visible, to be a larger part of that ongoing conversation through social media and through other channels that allows them to make sure that their voice is heard. So when you're faced with a skeptical question or a question that could even be perceived as hostile, the first thing to do is try to understand what's the real root of the question. What's the underlying value that that person has? So if someone asks a question about pesticides on fruits and vegetables, essentially what they're interested in is food safety. Well, that's great. We're interested in food safety as well. So have a conversation about food safety and the responsible use of crop protection chemicals as opposed to getting into a defensive debate about pesticides. Because if we don't embrace their initial concern, we're not given the permission to introduce additional information. What we know from other research is if you have a particular belief, and what I do is I challenge your belief, all I'm doing is galvanizing your position. I'm going to make you more defensive, I'm going to become more defensive, and the likelihood of having a meaningful engagement is pretty minimal. Well, I think we're continuing to see greater consumer interest and greater consumer pressure around all issues related to food and agriculture. But I think the opportunity exists for ag to be more effective in that conversation and to have a more meaningful engagement if we do a couple of things. One, we start with values-based engagement. We understand the need to talk about how much we care, how committed we are, and less about data and science. And two, if we really embrace transparency. If we understand that transparency today is no longer optional, and we have to be willing to give people access and show them who we are and what we do on a daily basis. The most powerful tool that farmers have today is their credibility, because people believe that farmers are good people, that they're committed to doing what's right. So we need to leverage that credibility and the values that farmers have to increase their visibility, to increase their transparency, but to harness that power they have and that credibility they have, because we can transfer that to some of the challenging issues and make them the spokespeople who can help the consumers better understand why we do what we do.